Hello, Captains. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, USS Endeavor, and welcome aboard the Tier 8 Tech Tree American battleship, the Maine. And if you saw on the thumbnail, you know this is going to be one amazing game. One game that actually kind of mimics another one that I watched a couple days ago. If you don't know who Aaron is, he had a Burgone video that had 6 kills, a high caliber, obvious Kraken, and a Confederate with a couple of other things sprinkled in. And this is going to be kind of similar to that. Enough of all that. If you know who he is, then I'm not spoiling anything. But if you haven't seen his channel, go check it out. Where Are You, Aaron? He has just surpassed 8K subs. So if you don't know who he is, go check him out. But anyway, let's get on to the video that we have at hand. This is the Maine, like I said. So we're going to look at the commander that we're using, along with all of the other perks that make this ship special and different and unique from the Iowa, and the precursor to the Montana. So let's take a look at her, shall we? Here we are yet again with William Sims at the helm, who has been our mainstay commander for this entire line and is going to stay that way for the remainder of the time. However, I have switched a couple of perks around and I have gone full into damage, accuracy, all that, and all the normal perks that you normally would use. And unfortunately, that does mean that we're going to be more susceptible to taking fires, and we are a little bit slower on our top speed, but all that's okay. And as you can see in this video that we're about to show, it ends up working out rather nicely. On to our mod selections, we have the AA guns in the first slot. In the second, we have chosen the propulsion mod. And in the third slot, we are using the concealment mod, which I'm a fan of now that they have them available for the battleships. And in the final, we are using the legendary artillery plotting room, which gives us an extra 2% dispersion after every 30,000 damage. And with every kill we get to stack 5% extra damage. On to the consumables, we have the heal and damage con, but we are using the catapult fighter to give us a little bit extra spotting. Now on to the actual ship stats themselves, with the survivability being 82,000 plus hit points, which is pretty healthy at this tier once you have her upgraded, and a 27% chance at reducing the torpedo damage that we take. Onto the artillery, a very unique and interesting configuration. It's like the Montana, which is the next ship that we'll be featuring, with one less gun on the front and rear of the ship. So you'll have 5 guns in the front and 5 in the back. And it's kind of a weird scenario. So shooting bow in only is actually worse than the Iowa. So you'll only be able to get 5 shells down range. But whenever you angle this thing correctly, you can get all 10 shells on target, but you just have to be careful not to go full broadside and get yourself deleted. So let's move on to the AA defense, which we have spec'd into, giving us a 100 rating, making this a very good AA suite. But most of the American battleships at this level are going to have extremely powerful AA. But we don't go up against a carrier, so it's not really that big of a deal in this match. The maneuverability, again, it's a battleship, and because we took the perk that reduces our speed by 10%, we are slightly slower and we're sub 30 knots. And the rudder shift time and the turning circle radius make this something you have to plan for ahead of time. Onto the concealment. We are detectable at 13.8 kilometers by sea, 11.6 by air, and guaranteed is always 2. And with the concealment mod in the third slot, it helps reduce that, giving us the ability to start the match going broadside without any real fear of getting taken out at the beginning. Now the armor is going to be very similar to the Montana, this is why it's a interesting hybrid between the Iowa and the Montana. So the side plating is very good. Anytime you see purple side plating armor, you know you've got really strong armor that can bounce anything. And the deck is also very well armored. Your nose is still 32 millimeters, which isn't bad, but because you're going to be going up against Musashis and Yamatos at this tier, they can punch through your bow. However, if you angle correctly, you can negate a lot of that damage. Plus, the help with Wargaming buffing the armor sections of this ship has really helped increase the survivability. You have a citadel that sits below the waterline, so plunging fire is a problem, but up close you should be able to negate a lot of those citadels up close, which you'll see in this video. And the casemate deck is going to protect this little vulnerable section of your citadel. Ladies and gentlemen, captains, strap in. This is going to be a good one. We're on Atlantic and we spawn mid, right across from Bravo. And it's a mainly tier 7 with some tier 8s, and I'm one of them. So I get the benefit of that in this match. Now, as the battle starts here, I just kind of want to point it out a couple things. We have 3 destroyers per side. And the way that they configured it, 2 of the destroyers are on the far left at Alpha, and the Ostergotland here is across from Bravo, leaving Charlie with real no spotting support. And normally I would not advise this move of basically, I always preach where a lot of players preach, well, the experienced ones anyway, never abandon the side in which you spawn. Well, when you spawn mid in a battleship like this, it can be kind of tricky as to which side you need to support. Charlie, Alpha, do you stay at Bravo? In most cases, I would say always stay towards the spawn in which you're at. So why am I going against it this time? Well, to be honest, when I kind of saw that the Bismarck was the only one over here, and the 2 destroyers which are in the division that are going into Alpha, one is a super tester, and so I'm counting on them to kind of know what they're doing. Plus, we have the Kronstadt, which is right in front of me, and he has a radar available to him to be able to help spot. And I felt like right off the rip, this would be a good play to try and quickly take Alpha, and then my plan was after Alpha to go right in and turn directions and support Bravo if it needed to be. And in this match, I feel like that's going to work. It's kind of a hit and miss on whether or not that's the right play as we take a shot at that Kagero and miss. But again, our team does a really good job of taking him out, cleaning off the destroyer on this side, where the only threat left is this Hipper and this Tulsa. Now, the Tulsa has radar, which is 9 kilometers. And it has a pretty decent duration. The Hipper also has a really powerful sonar. So these 2 ships are actually very well suited to take on these destroyers. And so I really needed to stay here until we could potentially mop up this threat. And here I'm just trying to stay patient. I was going to shoot at that Hipper, but he was kind of angled leaving. And here we get I felt is a really good grouping, a really good shot at the Tulsa, and I was like, oh, this is a deletion. And no, 2 overpins. So that was a very frustrating salvo. But the RNG isn't gonna hurt us the entire game. It's probably one of the few salvos that I felt I shot and was aimed well and just kind of just got screwed. Here, if you look at the Tulsa, he's slowing down, he's behind the island, and we pretty much aim right where he is. And if you look at the mini map, he's still broadside. So this shot, if auto aim is good, which it is, we get a Citadel and bring us up to 24,000, severely crippling the Tulsa. And like the sister ship being the Salem, the Tulsa does not have a super heal. The Salem does, which is the steel ship that has a better turret layout in my opinion as well. And so he's not going to be able to heal back a lot of that damage where the Salem would. And so he's basically on life support, and now he's reversing, staying broadside, not quite sure why. I wasn't going to shoot here because I thought that the Kronstadt was going to take him out, however he doesn't. So I go ahead and take the shot. Plus, remember, the legendary mods give you an extra 5% with each kill. So everybody, I guess, is vying for that, but I end up taking it. However, I don't really consider that a steal, as I crippled him and took a big chunk of that health. earlier. So don't consider that a yoink. I consider that a kill secure for me. Now the only threat on this side is the Hipper. And if you look at the mini map right now, we have taken Alpha. Our Ostergotland did a great job of taking Bravo, and for the most part didn't have any trouble doing that. Here, if you see on the chat, the Kansas, which is on that far right side, Charlie, where they have taken it, and where the vast majority of the rest of their ships are, they got overwhelmed on that far side. So our team kind of did what we did on Alpha, what the Reds did on Charlie. And so now, even though the Hipper is left over here, we're not needed there anymore. So I need to head back and I need to support this side. And the Kansas is asking for it. I ping that spot just to kind of remind everybody who isn't paying attention, that isn't over there by Charlie. We need to get over there and we need to support. So, and that's what we're going to do. This next set of sequences is both of our teams converging into the middle. And here we're going to take a shot on an unsuspecting Maine. And if you notice, those shells are relatively flat. So this is a potential for a really good hit. And we get 1, 2, 3 hits on a staggered salvo that takes over half of that Maine's health. So very good RNG, and now we're sitting at 2 purple stacks and 1 gold stack. So we have 5% extra damage with an extra 4% to our dispersion, making us even more accurate as this match goes on. And so we get another salvo into the Maine, which I thought could be deleted, but he's turning in. We still get 4 full pins and 3 over pins, bringing us to 80,000 damage. I wisely turned out because I knew that the destroyer had gone into Bravo on the Reds, flipped it, and I figured torpedoes were on its way, so I played that well. And here, all of these battleships, you've got the Bismarck B, you've got the Maine, and you've got 2 Atlanticos, and they're all pushing in here. However, they're all relatively angled well. So I'm like, who do I shoot at? I was going to take a shot at the Maine, but then I kind of changed my mind because they're all really angled well. And plus, I'm not spotted right now. So what I'm trying to do here, and my methodology and thinking was, I need to try and kind of swing out as wide as I can. Here I am turning broadside, and this is where that concealment mod really helps out. I want to try and get around so that I can get at their broadside. So as painful as it is to not shoot, as the small one pops up, I want to try and get to a position that they can't shoot me and I can get at their broadsides. I am having to not shoot for a little bit in order to make that happen because I don't want to be in the same square as my team is. They're all kind of grouped up. But here I'm finally spotted, so I'm like, all right, well, the jig is up. Might as well start shooting. So take a shot at the Bismarck B. He's probably the most broadside target that I have. We get a decent hit, but just barely sub 90,000, which gives us that 3rd stack to our purple dispersion. So as you can see, the ship count is tied. We are slightly ahead in points, but they have the caps. So this last shot, now that the Maine has basically committed to go full broadside, we negate his shells, but this is going to be the coup de grace to him, giving us the 3rd purple stack and the 2nd gold stack. Now we're up to 10% extra damage, and we are at an extra 6% in our dispersion. And then right here, when everything starts looking really good, I lost my connection. And that happened for about 30 seconds. So getting back to it, we didn't get hit at all from what I could tell. And there was the next salvo that we just took as we got back in. And we end up getting a Citadel, the high caliber, another kill, bringing the ships back. And now we have 4 stacks to our purple and 3 to our damage. So now we're starting to become really lethal. Not that we weren't before, But this Bismarck is going to be the next ship that we're going to be focusing. However, he goes dark. But we're dark right now as we get spotted again. And the Bismarck looks like he is completely turning out. So now we are going to shoot our salvo. And these stacks are really helping us maintain a tighter grouping and dispersion. And we get another kill, bringing our stacks to 4 and 4, which I have not experienced at this point. So this has been really, really favorable. But now we have the Atlantico and 2 destroyers left. We did take Bravo Cap, but it's being contested. So although we are up, we can't really rest on our laurels. And the Atlantico is probably one of the best brawling ships because of its secondaries. And so I have the health still at this point, and I know that this is going to be a fight that is going to favor the Atlantico. However, because of the extra stacks that we have to our dispersion and to our damage, an extra 20% damage at this stage of the match is nothing to laugh at. But then again, he has devastating secondaries. Here I make a mistake. I aim waterline, and he's angled well, and all of our shells bounce. So that was a salvo that was completely wasted on our part. We have to put out the double fire and the turret that he knocked out. But his secondaries are very, very powerful. 234 millimeter HEs are nothing to laugh at. They're going to be able to put me on fire and really put a hurting on me, even when he's not shooting his main guns. I learned my lesson from last time. Now we aim a little bit higher. We still don't get a great hit, but we take out a turret. And now I'm thinking drive-by, because at this point, that's the only thing that's going to save me. Here the destroyer pops up, and we get set on fire twice again. We can't put it out, so we have to kill this guy, and we got to do it now. So I'm setting up my turrets to do a drive-by shooting, and I believe he was thinking the exact same thing. So at this point, it's just a matter of who's going to get it off first. We are severely getting whittled down, which was kind of a mistake, but we get the shots off, getting our Kraken, maxing out both our purple and our yellow, and still set on fire twice, but we're going to get our heal back, which is going to save us here in about 3 seconds. And so we pop that to negate the damage that's being done to us. The destroyer is now up, and he is thinking, ooh, this is gonna be a free kill because he's so low. But I have the heal going right now, which is keeping me alive as we take a shot and get our Confederate against the Smollend. A very dangerous ship. We were able to damage con, or we got our damage con back, and I'm not going to be able to allow this fire to tick too much longer. So I haven't switched to HE yet because I forgot to be honest. And as we pop our damage con, he's not going to be able to set us on fire for another 15 seconds. And here I switched to HE. And even though we got really good stacks to our dispersion, we either aimed a little too high and misread his speed, because all those shells just went right over his head. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I've got to kill him in this next salvo. But then I also see the other destroyer that's way off in the distance, and he's low. So I'm sitting at 181,000 damage, 5 kills. Can I get a 6 and a possible 7th? So I only shoot 1 turret here, which happens to be the one with only 2. And it connects and kills him. And then in the last dying moments, I'm able to get that last salvo off before I get killed. And I'm like, oh, can I get the 7th here? And if I would have aimed that better, I think I could have. I just got splash damage, which didn't do any damage, but took out something. I incapacitated something, but I wasn't able to take out the last destroyer. I just didn't aim it very well, but could have had 7 kills. But 6 kills, maxed out all of our perks. Did the high caliber and Confederate, and obviously the Kraken that comes with it. Thankfully, our Kronstadt finishes it up, securing the win. Wow, what a game. couldn't have asked for a better showcasing of the Maine. This is not typical. I can tell you that right now. Obviously, this was the best that I had, and it is a little outside of the norm, but a little, almost 3,100 base XP, first on the team. Great showing, great matchup in the Maine. So that was a lot of fun. So again, if you haven't seen Aaron's video, he kind of does something similar in the Burgoyne. So go check him out. And thank you, Aaron, if you're watching this, for your support. I appreciate you, buddy. Anyway, that's going to do it for the Maine. We're going to be finishing up with the Montana here next. So fair winds and fair seas, captains. Like, share, subscribe, comment. We are close to 200 subs. We're just almost 20 away, so we'd really love the support. And thank you for those that have. So this is going to do it for me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. This is the USS Endeavor signing off.